Where is Ben? His microphone's not even plugged in. We'll go see if we can find him.
Jakey boy, you're early.
What are you doing?
Just thought we'd do a grand final brekkie.
In your road.
Yeah.
There's one egg.
Yes.
So what's to go with the yoga mat?
I thought it'd be like a red carpet, you know, interview some people.
Who are you going to interview?
Maybe the neighbours, housemates, I don't know.
You know we've got a show to do.
We do. We do have a show to do.
Alright, well,
Did you want half that egg?
let's go.
Okay.
G'day, boys.
G'day,
Welcome
mate.
to the podcast.
Sam, thanks for joining us, mate. How you going?
Jake and Ben from the Magoos, if you didn't realise.
Doing very well. Just in the next room.
You're in the net.
Tossing up what to have
My
for dinner.
girl's in the next room.
The next room to us.
No, I'm tossing up what to have for dinner.
Oh, what are you having for dinner?
Well, it's dumplings.
Oh, well, that's not exactly why we called you, but we wanted to get you. See you, Marcus.
See you, mate.
That was just your other roommate who's left currently.
Do you think you'll get pan fried?
Dude, yes. Yes. You boys are talking my language.
On a serious note, who's winning the granny on Saturday?
Great question.
Do you watch football, Sam?
Eagles. I'm a Bombers man.
Oh,
So-
okay. Yeah. So am I.
Should have been us.
I agree.
Next year's our year, boys. But I
put
don't
me
know.
in that
I don't know.
category.
It's going to be a great game, but I want the Eagles to win. Who's going to win? I don't know. I really don't know.
Sam, thanks for your time, buddy. That's about all we've got.
Mate. Thank you. Cheers.
No problem, boys.
Ben, I've dragged you in from the barbecue.
Oh, I do apologise about that.
We've had a half egg each, and we're ready to jump into the grand final edition of the Magoos.
Protein, mate. We're all good.
What'd you say?
Protein.
Oh, protein.
Yeah.
I thought you said. I don't know what I thought you said. I didn't know it was protein. But yeah. Anyway, we're here for the last show.
One.
Hey? Who'd have thought?
I know.
Who'd have thought?
I'm excited.
We've got a huge game coming up, obviously.
Yeah.
But we've last weekend. We can't brush over last weekend. The preliminary finals were.
Boring.
No, I was going to say
I was bored.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved Melbourne getting whacked.
We never script this. We honestly have complete different opinions on most things.
Oh, I loved watching West Coast just trounce Melbourne. That first half was as good as I've seen.
It's such an intrinsic point of view, though. It's because of your mates who barrack for Melbourne. Pure and simple.
Yeah, they don't deserve happiness.
Okay.
If I can't have it, no one can. And then we were all taken back Friday night by what Collingwood were able to do to Richmond. They out-Richmond Richmond. Yeah. And
I know.
beat them at their own game and pulverised them, really.
Yeah.
Beat them into submission.
I want to ask you, most people think, and Richmond have said it, that we'll be back, all this kind of jazz. I heard Jack Rewalt say it during the week, obviously you back your boys in, but history shows us that they've sort of missed their window there for their back-to-back. It's going to be tough.
Definitely missed their back.
Well, I know, but it's going to be tough, I think. It just goes to show how hard it is to win a flag.
Yeah.
And I can't see him getting back there. I mean, if they do pick up Lynch, which,
I was going to say 2 words.
Lynch.
Tom Lynch.
Yeah, but that also will change their dynamic. They're going to have to get rid of it.
They'll be right. They'll be really good again, Richmond.
They'll be very good. They'll be
But
probably top 4
You're
most
very,
likely.
very right. They're very, very hard to... It's years like Richmond's that then reiterate the fact of how hard they are to win.
Yeah.
Because...
But do they have to change their style slightly? Because they've already been
I think
hunted.
everyone's always changing their style, aren't they? Say when Collingwood or West Coast win this grand final, then teams will start to try and emulate what they do. I think teams will be emulating how Collingwood beat Richmond regardless. But
Yeah.
it's just sort of it's just one of those things, isn't it? When you become the hunted, circumstances change a bit, and then you've only lost a couple of games throughout the year, and then you go straight through. You've only played 2 games in a month, pretty much, and then you've got this team that's riding this wave of momentum and just come in red hot and blow off the park in the first
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty phenomenal that both games were blowouts. But
Yeah, it was,
Do you think,
as I said, I loved the
therefore, would you reckon this granny won't be one because they've both just had come off one?
I think it could be a classic.
I hope so because I haven't been too excited about both teams getting. I wanted either Richmond or Melbourne in there.
Yeah.
So now that they're not, I'm hoping it will be a classic for that reason.
I think it very well could be.
I hope so. I really do.
You catch much of the Brownlow? How could you not? It went forever.
It always goes forever. It's less scripted than this show. They just keep going and keep going. I watched a little bit of it, not all of it. No,
It was a long time. Old mate Basil got told to wrap it up by the producer. Did you hear that?
Nah.
You could hear it on the coverage. Wrap it up. This was the
sucked in Basil.
Yeah,
I did love the last couple of rounds when Gillon McLaughlin just. I've never heard someone talk quicker than that.
Once they know, he was like missing key parts. He'd be like Port Adelaide, Jay Polek, and then wouldn't say like the
How many
two votes.
votes?
And say, like Gil, just remember what you're up there doing, mate. Don't get too far ahead of yourself.
It's fair enough though because it was even before it was official, it was still semi-official. Like still, Sidebottom had to get three perfect scores. So
Perfect scores.
well, three
Diving.
threes. And a foul shooting and all the other sports that I've not mentioned.
Penalty.
What do you think? I must admit that from my point of view, once the Brownlow was said and done, the favourite won it. Not the most, eccentric sort of bloke, personality-wise, Tom Mitchell.
Tommy, no.
Congratulations to Tom. But, no one spoke about it the next day, I felt. I felt like it wasn't, I don't know, it was just the way it was meant to go.
Yeah, no, there was definitely coverage the next day. You missed that.
But what
It's not a Tom
you know
Mitchell
what
thing.
I mean, though. Like, people weren't like...
Well, I mean, he was $1.50 favourite or something.
Yeah, but how often, like, the favourite doesn't often win. And it's usually either closer or comes down to the wire a little bit more.
Sidebottom was a bit of a, not a surprise, but I thought Mitchell would win by a lot more and would poll a lot more.
Would he had 29? 28, 29. 28, 29, I think it was. I think it was 29. But, yeah, I agree.
I thought he'd poll a lot more, but the big shock wasn't even in the room. Didn't get invited.
How good's that?
Angus Brayshaw.
So does that tell you how much depth Melbourne have, or does it tell you how the awards sort of, I don't know. It's not as.
It puts a big question mark over what the umpires see.
Well, that's what I mean. So therefore, is the award not as prestigious as it should be?
No, it's not null and void. But we spoke about it last week. Yeah, so Max Gawn and Clayton Oliver was well sort of accepted that those two polled really well in every other award and whatever. And then you get to the Brownlow and a bloke that has not played a great season. Angus Brayshaw, don't get me wrong, but if he's the third best player in the competition, then I'm not sitting here. Like, I mean,
he should be sitting there. He was in over. I think Malcolm was in over him. Got one vote, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, so, and like Alex Rance didn't get a vote, which is fine, but don't invite him. Why is he going to the Brownlow?
Because he's Alex Rance. It's just the way it goes.
Seriously.
But wasn't it nice to, I don't know if you enjoyed watching him get absolutely towed up by two players.
It's not a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise. It's really not a surprise to a lot of people who watch from the outside, but commentators and that just don't seem to get it. They don't seem to tack on that this is what's happening.
Do you feel like they don't give enough to those certain players who are already in the media? They lay off them a little bit more because they have to work alongside them occasionally too.
I just think that they'd be... Like, Rance is a really good player.
Yeah, no doubt.
I just think that they're a bit hesitant to be criticising the best.
Yeah.
Because I think that then gets back to, we don't have anything nice then, like it's the same with Ablett, For everyone that criticises Ablett, there's two or three people who go, well, he's the best player ever. So,
fair enough.
Moving on then. A few trade moves
that
are apparently on the horizon. Essendon, Jack Martin.
Gold
Coast would be huge. Huge.
I haven't watched enough of Jack Martin or the Gold Coast to...
He will be a player.
He's what?
He will be a player.
Well, go for him then. Go for him.
Does
that say to you that Shield no good? No, not going to put pen to paper at the Dons.
Shield's going to be a Carlton.
Do you think Carlton can get both Shields and McGovern?
Yeah, for sure.
And do you also feel Shield? Yeah, Shield.
You said Shields.
Oh, with an S.
Yeah.
He either gets Shield or Shields, but not Shield.
Shields plays for Hawthorn.
Yeah,
we don't want him. He's a good player, but we don't want him.
Yeah, fair enough.
He actually
you saw him
liked
down
some of the Magoo's stuff when Jack Fitzpatrick.
Well, Jack's been watching closely every round.
He's
fan
sort
of the
of
show.
taken off a little bit in the media, hasn't he?
Good on him. He
Jack.
deserves it. He's got a great personality for it.
Great guy. And
Yeah.
he's
Getting
he's-
picked up by a couple of betting companies, I think.
Yeah,
Or one.
odds.com.au. He was retweeting
Jack.
some of our content the other night.
On
It's
your
just-
Fitzy?
Yeah, look out, eh?
Yeah.
Assuming he's still tuning in.
He's
every week.
tuning in. Yeah, he's tuning in.
He's tuning in. Aren't we
Wow.
all?
Yeah, we all are.
Mitch McGovern nominates Carlton. Perfect.
Is it? I personally think. Now you won't agree with this at all, but I think Carlton overrate Mitch McGovern. I think they think they're getting Jeremy. I believe they've done a name swap and they don't realise what they're doing.
How do you think that Carlton are overrating them? Let's not get angry with each other and get.
I'm not angry. I've got a big smile on my face. We're going into the
but I know
granny.
what you're doing,
It's September. I just feel like
I've got a smile.
he's not
September.
as big a name as you guys are making out to be.
Who's made it out to be anything?
Oh, just everyone in the media.
Okay, so what have Carlton done?
I don't know, mate.
Yeah.
It's just
It just doesn't make any sense. You know,
Nah.
you just
sit
don't try and start things.
Oh, I'm not. I genuinely think that. I just think looking at his stats, he's actually not. He's not.
Yeah, but what have Carlton said? Carlton haven't said anything. Literally nothing. I just don't.
Okay, the people then. The people, I should say.
people, yeah,
the
well,
people. Sorry,
I
Jake. I
think
take
that-
that back. Not
yeah.
Carlton. The people.
I hope that the people are overrating him and Carlton get him for a second round pick. That'd be nice. Won't
yeah,
happen.
that won't happen. No.
You never know.
No, you never know.
The other big one this week
Rather
emerging, it sort of comes around every year, but this year I believe that he will be traded, Jesse Hogan.
You believe that? I don't believe it.
I believe he will be traded.
I don't believe it for a second.
You don't believe it for a second? Wow.
No. You're gonna have to give up a lot to get.
And that's where I'm heading to. I'm thinking if... Let me get this straight. So if Lachie Neale goes to Brisbane...
Oh, he's doing this. Yeah, doing the maths.
Lachie Neale goes to Brisbane for... It might be a bit more, but then say pick 4, right? So Fremantle then have 4 and 5. That's not enough for Jesse Hogan in my mind. 2 first-round picks is not enough for a 24...
Even 2 top 5.
23, 24-year-old first-round draft pick,
Yeah.
key forward, ready to go in. This is what Fremantle have wanted for 20 years.
Jesse Hogan.
Jesse Hogan.
As a 3-year-old,
Jesse
they
Hogan
said we're going to have
type.
Jesse.
Yeah, this is who they've wanted. They've wanted someone to, through all their, they've always chased key forwards. When they had Pavlich, they wanted another one to support him. Fremantle will have to and should sell the farm to get Jesse Hogan. They've got to.
They should.
They've got to come to the. I would be trading. I'd trade the young Brayshaw to Melbourne. That might incentivise because Melbourne will come to the party if there's enough to play with. Again, from what you sort of read and hear and all those sort of things. So the word is that he's not going to re-sign at the end of next year, Jesse Hogan. So he then is uncontracted, and I don't think he'd be a free agent.
A year is a long time in football. He could have a stellar year for Melbourne. They could win the flag, or they could go close. And
I think it's about more than that for Jesse. I think it's a bad move
if Jesse went to Freo. For Jesse, I think.
Yeah, WA
Melbourne are on the
Bulldogs.
out. There's no doubt about that, whether you like them or not.
But I thought I was Melbourne. I'd be saying.
You'd be
4
open?
5. Not Angus. What's his brother's name? Andrew.
Yeah.
The one who got smacked by Gaff.
Accidentally, go on.
Digress. That's where I'd be heading.
All right.
I'd be heading in, and maybe it's not 4, 5 and Brayshaw, but I'm thinking still 5.
Yeah.
4 Brayshaw and then a 20 or something, because this is a 23, 24-year-old key forward in the prime
Ready-made,
of his existence.
yeah, absolutely.
Rolls in there, and he was on All-Australian pace this year before he hurt himself.
Yeah.
He's a genuine...
yeah.
For the next 3, 4, 5 years, he's going to be an absolute superstar of this game. And if Melbourne trade him, they need to be getting major overs.
Yeah, major overs.
Because he's a gun. But I'm not even sure if it is overs now they say that. Like, 3
I think we're
first-round draft
talking
picks.
pretty long about this one.
No, but I just think that Melbourne, I think they'd be crazy to trade him, but I can see why they might.
Yeah.
So he is the most... he is the most valuable player in the game.
Other than Joe Danaher, I agree. See, a year is a long time in football, isn't it? Joe's name hasn't been mentioned in 6 months on this couch.
You know why?
because he hasn't been playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Jesse, this is what I mean. Like if Jesse has a stellar year, no injuries, the overs might even become even more overs. If you know what I mean. But Jake, we're going into the grand final. I don't want to be talking about trades. We're going to open up the lines. Or we've decided we're going to.
Magoo's community calling.
The people are excited. But the Magoo's community are excited.
On the hotline, 1-800 Magoo's.
Yeah. We paid overs for that number.
Yeah, obviously.
Don't actually try that number. Not sure
Yeah,
who owns it.
Transferred me for that yet.
26.50, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll get
Sort
that
that out.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Anyway, we're going to open up the lines. Your calls on the other side of this break. Benny, we said during the week we were going to open up the lines for our Magoo's community to join us.
Don't know why we didn't do this earlier.
I don't know why we didn't do it earlier because I'm assuming this will just work a treat.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going.
Our first caller is Matt from Diamond Creek. Matt, how are you, mate?
It's Matt from Greensboro here, boys.
Oh, Matt from Greensboro. He got you there.
He did get me there.
Very
He's
good.
a big Diamond Creek man, though, I believe. Although maybe the producer at the back just got it wrong.
Yeah, well.
Matt from Greensboro. Matty, how are you, brother?
Yeah, good, thanks, boys. How are you?
Yeah, going
well, mate. Now, I hear you're a Melbourne supporter.
Yes, I am.
You didn't go to Perth, did you?
No. I mean, it'd be pretty unfortunate if you were to shell out for flights and accommodation and go over there and watch that. I don't know who would do that.
A couple of people did it.
Yeah, a couple of morons.
Yeah, well, morons is probably the word there, yeah.
It's part of the course, though, I think.
Watched it in Melbourne.
You actually going to watch the granny now, or are you a little bit stubborn?
No, I'll be watching. Hopefully see West Coast season get ruined because, they finished theirs. But it doesn't pay me to have to support Collingwood, but, hopefully they can beat West Coast.
It's very interesting, isn't it, Matt? So is that purely based on the fact that they beat you that you want West Coast to lose, or what's the thinking behind that one?
Combination of that, and also I've got quite a few mates who go for Collingwood, so I mean, if I can't be happy with us winning, I'd like to see them win for them. And on the other hand, I don't know any West Coast supporters, so on that front, it's probably an easy call.
That's a very poor attitude to have, mate.
Yeah, that is the opposite of Jake's attitude.
Absolutely. I was going for GWS, and then I was going for West Coast. And
You're shocking.
I have heard this theory of yours before, that if it's not Carlton, you want it to be someone where you don't know anyone who can brag and annoy you with it.
Yeah.
So you listen to the show a fair bit. That's good.
Well, I've heard rumours that I don't, but...
Is this the same Matt Frillman that only listens to the show when we've got a guest on?
Well, I'd like to write a reply on this, actually, and now that I'm on, maybe...
Oh, you've got the air, mate. Open up.
This is why you're here, mate. This is why we open the lines.
I just want to say, I've heard these rumours that apparently I only listen to the show when there's a guest on. That's not true. I don't know who your source was with that information, but all I'd say is that she sounds unreliable and I wouldn't trust her in future.
Matt, thanks for calling through, mate. Can you give us, just before we let you go, your tip for the grand final, the margin, the Norm Smith and the first goal scorer, please?
I'll go Collingwood by 27 points. Steele side bottom for Norm Smith.
That's
and Travis Varco with the first goal.
Varco.
I believe I saw a tweet roughly along the same lines of that just today, Matt.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, and I agreed with it and may have gone to the TAB along those lines as well.
All right,
Very
Matt.
good, Matty.
Thanks for calling in, mate. We've now got a disgruntled Tiger fan who did not want to be named calling through. Go for it, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, look, I just wanted to call up and just have a chat about maybe Damien Hardwick. Now, I've heard a lot of rumbles that people have actually wanted his head for the last couple of years, and me personally, I've been a big advocate for this, and now obviously I want to be anonymous, but just want to get your thoughts on potentially if you might have the same opinions on that.
I can't see Dimmer getting sacked.
Oh, I can't either, but, I want to hear you out, though.
Yeah, look, I just feel that they really dropped a valuable piece of the puzzle last year by getting rid of a young, talented forward. Jake Lambert, I'm wondering if you might know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Liam McBean, his name would be.
I actually had thought that this might be heading down this direction.
I just feel he was a couple of games short of a Coleman, personally.
You realise that you had the Coleman medal winner this year, though, so that wouldn't have happened.
Well, maybe they could have tied and maybe shared it, but I just felt like we got rid of it a bit too soon.
So you think the only reason why Richmond weren't able to defend their 2017 crown is because they delisted Liam McBean?
That's the reason why we're not going to be a dynasty, I think.
I would have said dynasty.
I was thinking 4 Pete's.
4?
4 Pete, but the bloke who never played, in particularly in...
He wasn't given a chance, mate. He wasn't given a chance.
What if you land Tom Lynch over the summer?
Tom Lynch, I think he could be a very valuable piece. I think, imagine this though. Tom Lynch, Jack Rewalt, Liam McBean.
I'm picturing it. I don't know what Liam McBean looks like in my head, so I'm picturing just another sort of tall McBeanie looking dude, but is he...
Could have been like the old days, like if we had drafted properly and we could have had Pavlich, Richardson, Franklin. Oh.
Well, you got Tambling, so don't be too upset.
Yeah, Tambling, he was just cut down with a bit of lack of ability, unfortunately. But he looked like
All right,
piece of the puzzle, didn't he?
we're just about to let you go, mate. But before we do, we're going to ask all our callers today for a tip, a margin, a Norm Smith winner, and the first goal for the grand final on the weekend, please.
Let's go Flying Ryan first goal. Let's go Elliot Yeo for the Normie and Eagles by 7 points.
Eagles by 7 points. Anonymous,
very conservative.
Thanks for calling in and venting your Richmond frustrations. It must have been a long, tough 12 months for you guys. My heart certainly goes out to you.
Yeah, we'll be back, and let's hope we pick up McBean on the rookie draft this year.
That'll do.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Bye.
I think we've got another caller on the line now, and similar to the train that Matt took us down a little bit earlier, we've got Julian from Coburg, who's a Melbourne supporter. Julian, thanks for joining us, mate.
No worries, boys. Long time, first time.
Good on you, mate.
Good to hear. I'm sure that there's many out there who are long time first time because we've never done this before.
Part of history, Julian.
So our producer at the back tells us that you shelled out, you're a Melbourne boy, and you shelled out and flew over to Perth to watch the prelim.
Yes. It was a lot more than the 4-figure mark. Probably closer to the 5-figure mark. I fucked that up already.
How'd you fuck up? You went over there. Was that the stuff up?
Yes, absolutely. It was a rash decision that I made on a Wednesday night when I thought that Melbourne were better than they were, but they've gone back to being the piss weak side of 2013.
Wow. There you go. So you're obviously off them again. Didn't take long.
Absolutely. If one of our best players wants out, you've got these middle-tier players of Dean Kent wanting to walk, and I don't know, something's changed in a week.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear some passion. Our last caller was a little bit on the fence.
He was very vanilla.
He had some splinters in his
He wasn't our last
butt.
caller. He was our last Melbourne caller. Was a little bit vanilla.
Yeah.
Well, these boys make, 3 or 4 prelims in 65 years, and that's what they come up with. The last prelim they played, they lost by 10 goals.
I'm getting a bit emotional here,
I was going to
Julian.
say, it sounds like your voice is starting to break there, Julian.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
very
get
emotional down the
You're
line.
going to make me upset, mate.
Which is what we love on the Magoos here. We love the emotion.
Yes, there's plenty of emotion. You should have seen the crowd over there as well. That was probably the worst part of it. They were absolutely ferals.
Did they bully you? What do they do, Julian? Tell us.
So there was, firstly, the swearing in front of kids is a little bit unacceptable.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, mate.
And, a slight hint of racism towards Neville Jetta.
Oh, hang on a minute. Now, that's a very serious allegation that you're West Coast have actually got several prominent Indigenous players of their own, So, I mean, this is a very serious allegation, Julian.
Yes, pot kettle black.
Oh, whoa. Wouldn't he use the B word?
Oh, shoot. Julian.
But yeah, they're the most one-eyed biased supporters I've ever met. They have no sense of what football is. They just care about themselves and themselves only. And
Just go on the left, right, good night.
Well, while you're running hot, Julian, let me ask you about some detailed thoughts on Jesse Hogan, if I could, please. Potentially heading over to Perth, back to, I mean, he probably won't go to the Eagles, but probably to the Dockers in a trade bombshell.
Yes, not unexpected, but if he wants to go, piss him off.
Julian, I bloody love it personally. I love the passion.
This is an irate supporter who's... Yeah. Would you say you've had enough of the Melbourne Football Club?
Absolutely.
This is great. This is so good. Julian, we really appreciate you taking the time to call through the show, mate. It's a little bit disturbing that it's, 5 days after the game and you're still at this boiling point. I don't envy your family and friends and workmates, but
It's good to see the
Lucky he
passion.
didn't call after the game.
Yeah, well, that's very true. I wouldn't have done that to you. But so you obviously jumped straight back on the plane on the way home. You were back in Melbourne Saturday night, were you? Or
No, spent the night in Perth, and unfortunately was on the red eye back to Melbourne on the Monday morning.
what was the thought process behind getting the red eye a day after the game?
It's probably $1,000 in my bank account. It was probably a little bit better, but I wish I hadn't.
Driven
Very
by money,
clever.
mate.
Very clever.
Yes.
Had his Aaron Williams on at the time, I would assume.
Short arms, deep pockets, I reckon, Julian.
But there was even some West Coast supporters had the arrogance of buying tickets to Melbourne prior to the match.
Oh,
Well,
that's
paid
just
off.
financial.
Paid
That is
off.
just financial planning. That is.
Yes, absolutely. They've saved themselves a bit there. But either way, I can't believe I'm saying this. Go Pies.
Oh,
Julian,
Christ, thanks, Julian.
that's the second disgruntled Melbourne fan we've had cheering for the Pies. Can you give us your tip, the margin, Norm Smith, and first goal, please, before we let you go?
First goal, I'll go with Jack Darling.
Okay, so you've
Tip
started
would
from
be-
my last question.
Collingwood by 24.
Ooh, okay, now you
Norm
come back to the top.
Smith will be Jaden Stevenson.
Jaden Stevenson for Normie.
Very nice. How many do you reckon Stevenson will kick?
3.
And he's going to win the Norm Smith medal with 3 goals.
3 goals and 15 touches, you reckon?
Yeah, probably closer to 20, I reckon, but he'll sneak in a few.
All right, Julian. Maybe call again, but maybe think about not calling again also.
I personally reckon we make a segment with just Julian.
What grinds his gears this week?
Yes, welcome to call back.
Thanks, Julian.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate.
Another call this time. Now, we know this name when it came up, when the producer in our ears told us who was coming up next. Long-time Twitter contributor of the show and passionate blues man, Lucas from Eltham has called through. Lucas, welcome to the show.
Hey boys, how you going?
Good, mate. Good, Lucas.
Be the pick one. Apparently, Charlie Curnow, best on at the Brownlow after party is the word.
Really? I heard the little weasel Damien Barrett was, but that's all right from Charlie.
Really? Purple? Where'd you hear that from?
I heard on the rush hour today. I heard Purple does pretty good work after hours, I heard.
Oh, I find that very hard to believe, Lucas.
When you put a mic in front of him, he's no good, but after hours, I heard he's all right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I'll believe that when I see it, I think.
Yeah, when he comes to the Magoo's Grand Final after party, then maybe we'll see.
So what have you made of this season so far, Lucas? There's been a lot of, talk about rule changes and all this sort of jazz.
Beautiful. The game's fine. Leave it alone. No dramas at all.
Even if your mob's only winning 2 games a year?
Yeah, a little bit of condition's not even that bad, mate. If they open it up like they did the 2 finals on the weekend, then people are going to have to get ready for a lot more blowouts, in my opinion. Sometimes congestion and trying to outsmart each other as a coach isn't a bad thing. I reckon they've just got to relax, and you're going to get, every week's not going to be a good game. You just got to go with the good and the bad sometimes,
Well said, mate.
That's a great opinion, isn't it?
Sounded all like you've written that down. You've been preparing for this phone call.
You've been waiting all year for us to open our phone lines, I reckon, Lucas.
Just thought about this Arvo, mate.
Oh, well done. Well done. Well said. We've had a couple of Melbourne supporters call in saying they're back in the Pies because they're a little bit salty from the weekend.
Is that Matt Hillman?
Oh, that is the Thrillman. Do you know each other? Oh, what do you know?
Mate, I see him on Twitter all the time, sticking up about the D's.
This is a great little
He's the
community
one
we've got
with-
here.
He's the one with the cheese platters at the MCG.
He is.
Fridgie.
He is, by all sounds of it.
Yeah, mate. Stuff Melbourne, stuff Collingwood, stuff them all. wait for the Blues time, mate. I'm sick of every other team having their time.
Just
I love it.
Just flipping through your Twitter here, Lucas. You're quite outspoken, and
No.
and
This is all off the cuff. I didn't know he was going to do this.
and a
Lucas.
big
Apologies.
you're a big contributor to our content on the socials, as well as running your own sort of agendas and stuff. So early this week, you tweeted. Is it just me, or should trade news be put on mute for Grand Final week and just celebrate how good the Pies/Eagles have been? Reckon it can wait, and the first week of October go bananas. Are you? Would you say that your AFL football's Donald Trump and you're demanding freedom of speech be cut back? Because I mean, you can't tell people what to talk about, Lucas.
No, 100%, mate. I'm AFL Donald Trump for sure. You can't. I don't want to hear about what Jesse Hogan's doing next year. I want to hear about who's going to match up on DeGoey this week and that kind of stuff.
Mate, I'm absolutely with you on that.
But don't you want to hear? Don't you want to hear what Dylan Shields may be doing, and then it'll change tomorrow, and then you just, you get excited because we're not involved.
I can wait till Sunday. After the grand final or Monday after the grand final. This week's all about Collingwood West Coast. Let them have their week. Celebrate how good they've been and the matchups and how good the game could be. Sam Mitchell's midfield onto Robert Harvey's midfield. See how they go. I don't want to hear about other clubs. I don't even want to hear about Carlton. I just want to hear about these two,
Lucas, that is spot on. I could not agree with you more, mate.
Couldn't disagree with you more. So.
Well, that's Jake for you. He's all about the media, isn't he?
Lambo, that's because you're the Damien Barrett of the Magoos.
Oh! Bang!
Cut him off.
Bang! The Damien Barrett of the Magoos gets work done after the show. That is what you're saying.
All right, Lucas. Well, thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for being a contributor to the Magoos all year, and thanks for calling in. And I'm sure we'll hear about all your opinions on Twitter. Where can the people go to follow you?
That's it, boys. Great show. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, mate.
Perfect. Thanks, buddy.
I'm just going to assume you didn't hear some of that question.
Yeah. Okay, Ben, we've had some great calls, and we've got one more on the line. I believe a diehard Collingwood fan.
I'm hoping it's a Collingwood fan. We haven't had one yet.
It's a Collingwood fan who's heading off to the big game. Matt, are you there, mate?
Oh, Jake, hi, how you going?
Very well.
Mate.
Ben's here as well.
Yeah,
Don't just address me.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Buffer, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much.
Matt,
No worries, mate.
Matt, your beloved Pies, you've got yourself a ticket. How confident are you?
More confident than I was last weekend, Jake, that's for sure. And then we went and dismantled Richmond. So all things going well. Might be a bit of a flag pie success story tomorrow.
It sounds very Collingwood, doesn't it? Like we had no hope until we actually in it, and now they've come out of the woodworks. They have.
And now we're going to win it.
Look, there's been a lot of talk all week that I myself am a bit of a bandwagon supporter, but look, I've been through the good and the bad.
You sourced the ticket okay? How was that process?
Sourced the ticket fine, got it through a mate, so I'm about 10 rows back, half forward flank southern stand. So all things going well.
Hang on.
A W and can head down and celebrate with the boys.
I think we're starting to join a couple of dots here, Matt. You wouldn't have happened to have sourced that through a current AFL player, would you?
Just a particularly good mate of mine was able to contact the AFL and get a couple of seats. So things played out pretty well for me, that's for sure.
Name and shame.
Yeah,
Come on.
Look at him clinging on for dear life.
Sorry, say again.
Name and shame. Give the boys what they want. Give the community.
Name and shame. It'd be a little Nathan Robat from the Kangaroos.
Good on Nathan.
Help me out tomorrow.
Fantastic.
He's done very well for me as well.
He's a big fan of the show, so hopefully
times.
he doesn't listen to this and take it the wrong way that he's given tickets to you and not his family.
Well, I'm going to have to pass on the podcast to him so I can have a listen to his note getting dropped.
He could come on at any time
Any
too,
time,
Nathan.
mate.
We're always looking for guests.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we might have to pass on a number and see what we're going to arrange.
See how we go. Matt, before we let you go, we've asked all our callers so far. You're our final caller for the season too.
Yeah, congrats.
Oh, privilege.
We'll send you out a Magoo's prize pack for that.
Thank you.
Can you give us your... I mean, don't wait by the letterbox by all means. Can you give us your tip, your Norm Smith and your first goal, please, and your margin too for the winner?
Tip Collingwood by 19.
Oh, yep.
Taylor Adams for Norm Smith. Ooh. And first goal will be Will Hoskin-Elliott.
Will Hoskin-Elliott. I like that.
For the pies, all three.
I'm leaning with a Will Hoskin-Elliott too, which we'll get to our tips a little bit later in the show. Nice. But Matt, we really appreciate you joining us. Enjoy your big weekend, and hopefully for your sake, the Pies can get over the line.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me, boys.
Good on you, Matt.
Thanks for calling in, Matty.
See ya. Bye.
Benny.
Yeah, mate.
Thank you for the callers.
That was a lot of fun.
That was good, wasn't it? We should maybe do that more often next season.
We should, I think.
Which we can announce we have been renewed for Season 2 of the Magoos. We'll be back a little bit here and there over the summer, which obviously if you're subscribed and you're watching this and you follow us on the socials, you'll be alerted to. Yeah. But we'll be back next season.
Maybe a bit of draft or a bit of trade. something along those lines.
Right. When you
Maybe a
said draft,
JLT in the summer. Who knows? Maybe even a cricket update.
Maybe.
I'll have to start watching cricket though.
You don't watch footy, so
I'll just rely on you.
another sport that you don't watch that you talk about every week.
Very good.
Oh, good.
Very good.
The callers were great, but now it's up to us. People watch this show for us, except Matt, one of our callers who only watches when we have a guest. But the Magoo's community, they want to know who we're tipping. They want to know our Norm Smith, our first goal. You know, how much is the Pies or the Eagles going to win by, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles by 13 points.
Oh, I'll write that down. So you got West Coast by 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you want the rest?
Yeah. Give
first goal. I'm going to say the big American is going to kick the
Cox,
first goal.
wouldn't that bring the house down?
That would actually bring the house down. All 100,000 that should be there.
Yeah.
And for Norm Smith, well, if West Coast are going to win it, I'm going to give it to Jeremy McGovern. I think if he can take 6 or 7 intercept marks.
J McG.
What do you think? Not a bad tip?
I think his brother's going to be a great player.
Apparently he's already is.
Yeah, as Carlton say, he's the best player ever. I'm going against. I actually don't know. I think that from a betting point of view, West Coast price is far too good to ignore.
I agree
far
with
too
that.
good to ignore.
Yes.
But I will ignore it.
Yeah.
Because I will not be betting on the football for anyone watching at home due to contractual arrangements.
Yes. I will be betting, though. Different contracts.
You're not an ambassador for the game.
No.
Nor am I. But it's just slight gig. So
No, you are right, though, on that, yes.
I'm
2:30
going
or something.
to go for West Coast
Oh.
by 41 points.
You...
But I only think that that'll blow out late. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I think it'll be they'll really go at each other. I think it'll be a really good game, but West Coast will wear them down. Them, and they do. They'll just. So I'm tipping the 3/4 time margin. I can tell you will be around about West Coast-ish, sort of 10 to 15, and then it'll be like.
You can tell us that, can you?
you.
You're very confident.
You.
It's almost like we've recorded this after the grand
we
final.
actually haven't though. You can see on my watch.
No, we
This is,
haven't.
Friday 28th.
Wednesday.
Wednesday 26th.
Good man.
Thanks. 28 minus 2. It's like the Alan from the Hangover. Get the numbers flying by. West Coast 41. First goal, Will Hoskin-Elliott for the Pies. I agree with our last caller, Matt.
Yep.
And then Norm Smith will be Josh Kennedy, who will kick 6 goals.
6 goals might just get him a Norm Smith. Jake, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Unbelievable, hasn't it?
Honestly has coming
What a
here
ride.
most weeks.
What a ride. But we're here. We're at the end of the season.
Yeah.
We'll be back, though. Of course we'll be back. But we just want to obviously thank everyone from Kane Corns down. He was the inspiration, in a sense, for the first segment on this show.
Yeah.
Shocking segment.
Yeah.
But Corn's not in there anymore. We are still looking for a sponsor, of course, which is no surprise to absolutely anyone, I'm assuming. Thank you, Ben, for hosting us here in Studio A.
As to you, Jake, in Studio A and B.
It's been a fantastic season. Thanks to producer Jack, who was here when he wanted to be.
Not here today.
Very, very rarely.
Yeah.
And thanks to the Magoo's community who have got behind the show and supported us. We really do appreciate it. All your likes and shares and comments and subscriptions, all those things on all the various apps and social media channels. So thank you guys very much. Enjoy the grand final. Enjoy the off-season. We'll be back over the course of the summer with a few little bits and pieces, and we'll speak to you then. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.